Okay, so we're gonna go back in time,
Mm,
right around the time the Ramones started. We're gonna
okay.
go with Nevermind the Bullocks. Here's the Sex Pistols. Okay, so the thing is that this album, at least in my circles, is often cited as a perfect 10 out of 10 record. This album spawned most of the music that I love to this day. I would say if you add this and the Clash together, you can basically get almost anything that I love. Almost, not everything, but almost is a derivative of those two bands, especially their early material with the Clash. But this album starts off so good. It's got, I mean, it's 12 songs. It's just under 40 minutes. So back in the day, 12 songs, 40 minutes was basically perfect. It's a little long to me now. And then, so here's the thing: you get guitar tone that I still love to this day, vocal style that I still love to this day. I don't like Johnny Rotten, but he was a great vocalist for this kind of music. And then they also spawned our style with our clothing and such. Right now, granted, they didn't come up with it, but they wore it. If they hadn't worn it, we wouldn't have the style of, like, let's say, the briefs or the U.S. bombs. None of that stuff would exist. Or at least it would have come out at a different time and place. It would probably be quite different, I think. This album is just about perfect. And then you flip it over to the B side, and you're scrolling through the B side, and you get to the one song that everybody knows by the Sex Pistols. What song do you think that is?
It's Anarchy in the UK. If it's like,
Correct, sir. That song blows chunks so hard. I hate that song. I hate that song. It's so stupid because, okay, so here's the thing. For years and years and years, and it's weird because, like, I think that I'm changing as a person as I get older, and as I learn more about politics and I get more involved with my local communities, and I have a small business and I've got a family and I've got a, community here. I think I've never been a Democrat. I've been a liberal. Those are different things. I think I'm an anarchist, and I just never really understood what anarchy really meant. But that song has been used in the wrong way so many times, and I've heard it so many times. It's lost any kind of, it's no longer like Sonic the Hedgehog, bro. It looks like a cue ball, bro. It is soft and smooth all the way around. It don't hurt nobody, dude. It's not an abrasive song, and it's just overplayed. It's they don't. I think that the when it was made is made for probably the right reasons with the right things in mind. I just think that the way that the song is used, it's just one of those songs that it's not the band's fault. It just is what it is. I hate that song. I can't even listen to it, bro. When I listen to this album, I literally skip that song. I'm like, nope, no, I don't want to hear it. But God Save the Queen, I'll still listen to. I don't really, I think I've heard that song probably one for every 3 times I've heard Anarchy in the UK. That song's been in movies, commercials, you name it. But that's another thing, dude. Why is that song in commercials, bro? Like, what are we talking about? Why is that song in movies? It shouldn't be. Well, I guess a punk rock movie maybe, but like, that song, you know, coincidentally, might be the first punk song I ever heard as well, because Megadeth covered it, and I remember hearing that probably before I ever heard any punk. So it's simultaneously probably my entry to the genre and one of my top 5 least favorite songs, period, in the genre. Anyways, what are your thoughts on Sex Pistols?
well, I'm a big fan of this album. I had it when I was a kid on CD. I became a real big fan of like reading books about Sid Vicious when I was in high school. So like, there's a photo of me in the yearbook reading a Sex Pistols biography when I was supposed to be working on classwork.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I was always very into that, and it's really easy to get into the Sex Pistols because it's only one album.
Right.
I've always liked Anarchy in the UK. I understand everything you're saying. It is one of those sort of mascot punk songs too, and in any genre, those songs you can get kind of like numb to. And I don't know if I necessarily agree or disagree with your takes on it, but it's funny because I do think of some of the other versions of this song. There's the Megadeth version. Motley Crue of old bands has a really good version of Anarchy in the UK, which I think it's just, and I would say the Megadeth version and the Motley Crue version are just recorded, 10 years after this one, a little bit stronger bands. So I just think those versions do sound. I've always preferred those versions of this song, as just my own little thing that I've always had a thing. I think the thing with politics and the Pistols is like one of the messiest things in all of like punk rock. Like if we really were to go back and look at what it was, what it is now, the authenticity of it, and the importance of it, like the influence of it. It's a very messy topic that I don't think anyone's really like tackled fully because I think we feel bad taking out like these legends in that kind of way, and so
I agree with what you're saying. And here's the thing: is like if I'm at like a party or a club and a song comes on, do I stomp out of the room and go, "Oh, I can't"? No, dude, of course not. But like when I'm in charge of music, man, I just don't like the song. I don't listen to it. And it if I was 15 still, would I be saying this? Of course not. When I was 15, I loved this song. This is something that I was like looking through albums. That I was like, I even Googled like classic punk albums just to go like see what am I not seeing? Like, what am I missing here? Like, I was having a hard time finding a third pick. And I was like, and so I saw this album and I thought, I wonder if there's any kind of, fat to trim on Nevermind the Bullocks. And I was like, I don't think there is. And then I like pulled it up. And as soon as the track listing came up, I went, oh, wait a minute. No, I hate that song. I don't even listen to that track, dude. Again, is it an objectively good song? I think it's fine. I think it's good. I think messy is the correct descriptive word to describe like the Sex Pistols' relationship with politics and punk rock in general.
Mm-hmm.
But I think punk was a completely different thing in 1977 than it is now. Yeah, it just is what it is. But again, this is kind of a cheeky conversation anyways. I think like you said earlier, you even put I Want to Be Your Boyfriend on a mixtape at some point. Like, do we really hate these songs enough to want to actually cut them out of a re-release of the record? No, dude, that's ridiculous. Like, but for conversation's sake, the song is kind of whack, bro. I don't like it. And I bet there's a lot of punk rockers that are gonna be like, yeah, dude, Sex Pistols in general kind of suck, and which I don't agree with that, but I could see.
I love that we literally just took out the two like cornerstone bands of the entire thing we talk about.
Dude, but
in
10 minutes we just
the Deftones
pissed
do
off
that
our
where
whole.
they re-released an album without one of the hits on it because they didn't want it on there in the first place, I think, or something like that.
Wait, what?
Didn't the Deftones do that with like White Pony where they didn't release back to School because the label made them make the song in the first place, so when they re-released it they didn't have it. I like the idea of like them having some kind of issue and re-releasing this without Anarchy in the UK.
Dude, that would be hilarious.
That would be hilarious. I'm thinking of like it's like Metallica re-releasing the Black Album and it doesn't have Enter Sandman on it, and people are just confused.
Wow. Actually, I would buy both of those records because I don't like Enter Sandman either. I should have picked that record.
Enter Sandman is what I was thinking of when you were talking about, because that's kind of the Mascot song of metal in that same kind. Again, not a bad song. I've just heard it 9,000 times, and everyone else kind of knows it too. So again, it's like you said,
that's the Anarchy in the UK of Metallica.
Yeah, we covered two genres in one topic there.
Bro, that's funny, dude.